Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Also featured on The Roar on 99.1, 93.5, and 94.7 HD2. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. How was your weekend?
It was better than yours, probably.
Oh, hell no. Nobody had a better weekend than me. Only Fish did. Only Fish, I could argue, had a better weekend
Why
than
did
me.
Fish have a better weekend?
Because Fish watched soccer all weekend and didn't give a crap about anything in life. Right, Fish?
That sounds about right.
Yep, told you.
I love that for you guys.
What's up, Terry? I heard you have heater problems. Or...
I do, yeah. We're in a slump. I think everything that could go wrong in my family is going wrong now. And I started smelling dampness in the basement. The water heater just started leaking water.
That's unfortunate.
So now I've got rags all around it trying to contain the water, and a water heater might be coming today. In fact, I have to have my phone on for delivery.
Oh, man. Well,
Perks of renting.
It is, but you know what? I discovered, and I didn't get one. No, I wish I was renting now. They have these little tiny water heaters like this big, and supposedly it keeps your water hot.
interesting. All right, well, you learn something new every day, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Do you have a water heater at your place?
To be honest, I'm sure I do. I have probably never looked.
Will they last 10 to 15
I'd imagine
years?
I do because I do have hot water.
I was going to say, you have to have it.
I don't know. Look, guys, I'm so busy.
He's never had Detroit-style pizza.
Nope.
He's probably never been to Pine Knob.
Nope.
He hasn't had a Coney dog.
Nope.
So I'm assuming Adam doesn't have a hot water heater.
I would say hot water heater, yes. Air conditioning, maybe no.
Oh,
No, definitely have air conditioning. It has to be like super cold in my house.
Cool.
Weren't you
All right.
supposed to have Detroit-style pizza this weekend?
I did, and I never did.
I'm
Okay.
not surprised.
Yeah, I'm
Do you
not-
remember how long he was
not
supposed to
shocked.
bring in that
I
trophy
worked
from
all
the Christmas
Saturday,
party?
so-
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
All right, let's get into it. News broke. Juwan Howard reportedly turns down the Los Angeles Lakers job. Me personally, Terry, I think it's the right decision. I think the Lakers job is a joke. I think it's the easiest way to add getting fired to your resume if you're a current coach in the NBA right now. LeBron James has complete control over the roster. It's a roster with Russell Westbrook, and they're not even sure how the hell they're going to get rid of him. Anthony Davis is always injured. LeBron James now down the stretch starting to get injured consistently, missing games throughout the year. This is not a team that's going to be competing for a championship. And if I'm Juwan Howard, I'm not leaving a program where I could stay 10, 15 years if I wanted to and not worry about my job.
And when the Lakers don't win a championship, you're going to get blamed.
100%.
They're not going to blame Anthony Davis and his injuries, Westbrook and his foibles, LeBron James getting old, trying to hang on to play with his son. You'll get blamed for that. Lakers used to be the job. You know, back in the 80s and even the 90s.
Back in the day, when you took the Lakers job, it was because either A, you were one of the most qualified, or B, you know, when you took that job, that guaranteed your next 2-3 jobs, just because you were good enough to get the Lakers job. That's how meaningful it was. Now it doesn't mean that much.
Or, you know, that was your last job. You know, I'm going to do this, win a couple of titles, and retire.
Yeah, look, I mean, if I'm Juwan Howard, good decision.
Well, he's always said that Michigan was his dream job, and so he's kind of backing that up, too.
Yeah, look, and again, I think it's a better job right now. I could make the argument that Michigan college job is better than one of the 32. I mean, let's just be real. It's the Los Angeles Lakers, right? Showtime. And I think Michigan right now is a better job. I think there's a lot of college program jobs that are better than what the Lakers are offering. What the Lakers are offering any head coach right now is an old LeBron James who can put up numbers, but is not going to carry your team like he used to. Anthony Davis is always hurt. And then Russell Westbrook, who can't shoot a goddamn basketball. And you know what's crazy about that, by the way? You know what you're supposed to do in the game of basketball? One of the core functions in basketball is to shoot the basketball.
That is very important.
Am I correct?
You're an astute observer. Yes, that's what you're
I
supposed to do.
kind of figured shooting the ball was part of the game. Russell Westbrook can't do it. I can't believe he's in the league. I can't believe it.
And you almost tried to bring him here to the Pistons.
Oh, God, no, not me. God,
Somebody
Terry,
did.
Somebody said it over the weekend, I think it was. And I said, I'd rather go another 18 years, Terry, without a championship for the Pistons than sign Russell Westbrook to a one-year league minimum.
Okay.
I would not allow it.
It's a little extreme, but that's cute.
I think I made my point, though.
Terry just called you cute. What does it mean when we call you cute, Adam?
Yeah, look, I'll take compliments when I get them, all right?
Well, it's not. You're not cute as in you look cute.
Oh, thank you,
You
Terry.
have cute ways. How about that?
Yeah, look, I
that a
have
little
cute
better?
ways about saying what I'm going to say. I think that's a great compliment, Maddie, unlike you. What compliments have you gotten
I
from
love
Terry
that
this
for
morning?
you. Well, he didn't call me crusty
No,
today.
no,
so.
no. I said she was minty.
All right, there you go.
That's a compliment.
He said I looked minty this morning.
Congratulations. You're crushing it, Maddie. 10 out of 10. Russell Westbrook. What a bust. God, I'd rather be homeless than be Russell Westbrook.
shut up.
Swear to God. What a horrible life to live. Ultimate gift of athleticism. Unbelievable talent. 14 years in the league, still
But
hasn't figured out how to shoot a goddamn basketball.
You're overrated.
My kid, who's not even born, can figure out how to shoot a basketball.
Yeah, but he's getting paid and he gets to wear funky clothes.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah, he does the Italian Fashion Week, whatever they call it, fashion model. I don't know, whatever that is. He does it every pregame. Good for him. What a waste. Anyways, I don't want to focus on Russell Westbrook, even though that's a big reason why I would never take that job. By the way, if I was a head coach and the Lakers approached me, I would demand three things: a 5-year contract, because I need the first two to rebuild the team. Second, I need complete autonomy to get rid of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook and go into a full rebuild. And three, they really, really need to let me trade Russell Westbrook. Like, that is a must. Like, it has to happen. You have to get rid of all these players. You're not competing for a championship. I don't think they're better than Golden State. I don't think next year they're going to be better than Memphis. I don't think they're going to be better than Phoenix, even if they lose a player. Who knows? There's so many teams in the West that are just better than the Lakers. And yes, they have LeBron James.
Well, didn't they sort of prove that by not making the playoffs? There's a bunch
you would
of
think.
teams better than them.
You would think that, Terry. You would think that, but there's a lot of stupid people out there.
Well, I think it just revolves around the Lakers name. I think that the Lakers name is the winning team, or the team that should be winning, and it has been for all these years. I mean, they even have the HBO series. What is it? The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty or
Winning
something
Time.
like that. Yeah,
I just
Winning
finished
Time.
that.
It's a great series, by the way.
You
But
know
yeah,
what? I'm going to disagree. The series is awful, but I couldn't stop watching it. It's one of those, the baby is ugly, but it's cute again. That's the way. I thought the acting was bad. Jerry Buss, his buttons all the way down here with his little hairy chest. Everything was so stereotypical. I think what they did is they took the characters and just exaggerated them so much that they became unbelievable. But guess what? I couldn't stop watching. I'm like, damn, I'm going to go for the next one.
that was
Yeah.
one of the recent shows that I actually would tune in every time they dropped a new one. I
Oh,
was like,
that's
"Yeah,
nice.
here."
Yeah, I haven't watched it, and I don't plan on watching it, to be
I'm
honest
not
with you.
Well, you
Surprised.
should.
We'll see.
Even Alex said shocker.
Right.
That's when you know.
Well, look, Terry, what do you think of Juwan staying, though? I think it's the right decision. I think, again, the Lakers' job is an awful job right now. I'm not competing for the playoffs, barely. If I'm lucky, I get into a play-in. I'm definitely not a championship contender in L.A., and if I am walking into that situation, I am blowing it up. I am trading all of them, and I'm going into a full rebuild, and I need to understand it's going to take 3, 4, maybe even 5 years before we even reach the playoffs. And
No,
that's something Lakers need to accept.
No, they do, but they won't because the Lakers think it's the greatest job in the world, not just in the NBA. But for Juwan Howard, his goals, his goal was to go back to Michigan, and I understand that he learned under Pat Riley and Spoelstra, and at some point he's gonna want to coach in the NBA. But if the NBA keeps calling you, you wait for a job that fits you. But it has to be better than the Michigan job. And right now, the Lakers job is not better than the Michigan job, because Michigan, he could stay there forever.
There's no way he gets fired unless he smacks another dude.
All you gotta do is not
All you
kick
gotta do is
anybody's
not
ass.
fight somebody, and this guy can keep his job at Michigan for the next 10 years. It's
You
insane
know what?
to me.
Maybe they should just blindfold him during the layup line, so he doesn't see what's happening. He just goes on and does his thing.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, again, yeah, it's the Lakers' job, Los Angeles, a lot of money involved. Definitely not a team. If I am going into the NBA for the first time as a head coach, that is not the job I'm taking, unless you give me 5 years to turn it around. And I don't think the Lakers are patient enough to do that. I don't think they're interested in getting rid of LeBron James. Obviously, they need to sell tickets, and if they get rid of all these players, that'll probably affect that aspect of the business. But who needs tickets when you have all the NBA TV right deals? Like, these teams need to understand, yeah, filling the seats is important, but you can do that by winning. And right now, the product you're going to put out, you got Westbrook, street clothes, and an old man who, again, is still a very good player, but is not taking you where you want to be.
And plus, I think his main goal, LeBron James,
Play
is
with
he
his
wants
son.
to be and this is not going to happen when he leaves the Lakers. He wants to be thought of in LA as Kobe Bryant, Kareem, Magic. That's what
Never.
his goals are. But that's not going to happen.
It'll never happen. Well, you're not going to be there long enough, number one. Tenure matters when we talk about stuff like that. You won a championship, and, you know, again, the way Magic, Kobe, Shaq, Kareem, some of these, Jerry West, the way these guys won, it wasn't just a one-off year, and then it was struggles the rest of the way. It was dynasty, 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 appearances after appearances in the finals. Like,
But they were doing it in their
He's-
prime.
yeah, he's too late now. He's not going to reach that status. He's not going to get a statue playing 4, 5, 6 years with the Lakers. I think that's ridiculous. But, you know,
And he's becoming a coach killer.
yes.
Because not only must you coach the hell out of that team, but you got to kiss LeBron's ass. And if LeBron doesn't like you, you gone.
Yeah, I don't like that. And I'm glad, again, Juwan Howard stayed. I think it would have been a bad career choice for him to leave Michigan for the Lakers. But we'll be back in a bit. When we do get back, we will
If we get
discuss-
back.
If we get back. I don't know what the hell's going to happen the next minute. But if we get back, what the top priority is for the Detroit Lions going into the season. Terry, I think you're going to like my answer a lot. I think I have a great solution, by the way.
Of course you do.
I always do. But before we go, Maddie, could you tell everybody at home about the official lifestyle, a beverage that is Cintron?
Yes, I can. It is the summer of Cintron, and it's now available at your local Kroger. Head on over to Kroger. You can get Cintron 2 for just $4. That's an absolute steal. Cintron is the new energy drink for the active lifestyle. Drink it, live it with Cintron.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Well, it's 8:14 in the morning, and you guys know I'm already thinking about Wing Snob. They've got fresh, juicy, hormone-free chicken, the best traditional wings in the game. Try out their signature sauces, Jamaican jerk or lemon pepper. Their wings are tossed to perfection in any sauce that you may choose. When the wings are this good, you're allowed to be a snob. Order online now at wingsnob.com. Wing Snob, we just have better wings.
Not only do they have better wings, I think we have the best Maddie in Michigan. 10 out of 10, right?
Just Michigan?
Let's not push it, all right?
Damn.
Take the compliments when you get them, Maddie.
No.
Terry,
Well, I know this.
I'm not like you.
We got the best mentee Maddie
There
in
you go.
Michigan.
There you go. Absolutely.
All
All right. Today's this morning we are going to ask what is the top priority, and all of you in the chat, please do answer. What is the top priority for the Detroit Lions heading into the regular season? Terry, I'm going to take this one first.
Yeah, because I can't wait to hear your answer. It's so brilliant.
So, no free agent signings, no trades,
Okay.
nothing out of the ordinary. I think the roster as is enough for me going into the year. Year 2, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, it's enough for me going into the season. And on top of that, I think all they need, the only priority this team should have, is go get to the regular season healthy. That's it. Not trade for a wide receiver, trade for a running back, whatever scenario you want to draw up in your head. I don't care. Backup quarterback, could care less. Get to the regular season healthy. Wait for Jameson Williams, likely week 3 or 4, depends which doctor you've asked. If you listen to All Access Sports Medicine over the weekend on the YouTube channel over at Woodward Sports, they said he very well could be ready by week 2, week 3, depends again on the recovery, but it seems he's ahead of schedule. Guys, just get there healthy. Get to the regular season healthy, and I don't think you could have had a better offseason than what the Lions have had. Terry, please, somebody find me one complaint for Brad Holmes and the front office in terms of what they didn't address. You want to bring up backup quarterback, be my guest. I think it's absolutely brilliant that this team doesn't have a backup quarterback. It guarantees if anything goes wrong for Jared Goff this year, you will secure a top pick, and there is nothing wrong with that, in my opinion.
So it sounds like you want to tank again.
No, I don't. But
You have no expectations.
No, I do. I told you before, minimum of 7 wins. I think 7 is the minimum number they have to get to this year. But if Jared Goff, let's say, you don't want to wish injuries on anybody, but let's say tears his shoulder apart early on in the year, his throwing shoulder, out for the regular season after 3-4 games. What incentive do you have as the Detroit Lions to go out and win 6, 7, 8 games? What's the incentive? You're not building chemistry, reps. You're not building any of this with the current starting quarterback who you technically would want to keep for the following year. You're doing this with a backup. And I understand you don't just go out there and tank. I'm not telling this team to tank. What I'm saying is having a backup quarterback, especially the ones that the Detroit Lions have, almost guarantee they're going to lose football games. And that's not my doing. That's their doing.
You are a cutie pie. I'm going to say that right
What
now.
the hell does that mean?
Here's what you just basically told us. The Lions need to win 7 or 8 games. But if their quarterback is injured, don't try to win 7 or 8 games.
Yes.
Because that's not what you want. It does you no good.
Yes.
So you told us 7 or 8 games is important for them to win, but winning 7 or 8 games does them no good.
It does them no good if Jared Goff is not the quarterback. Because,
What
again,
difference does it make?
what do you mean? It makes a big difference. If Jared Goff plays all 17 games, this is a team I believe is capable of winning anywhere between 7 and 9 football games. I think 7 is the floor. They must with that schedule, especially if they have their starting quarterback. And if they don't, Terry,
And they win 7 games, then you're going to be bad.
I think it's ridiculous to even attempt it. You're not proving a point. What you're doing with Jared Goff is you're showing progress. With Jared Goff down, I personally am not going to kill you if you write off the season as a 3-4 win team. Now, granted, if you want to go out and win 7 games and show, wow, man, wow, this team really fought. If they would have had Jared Goff, they would have won more games. Fine. But you are going to be concerned about Jared Goff going into next year. And this is a guy, by the way, who doesn't have much of an injury history anyways. So the idea of him getting hurt it's all really extremely hypothetical because he's been very consistent throughout his NFL career in terms of not missing games and playing hurt.
I guess the critical thing is whether Goff is injured or not, you're still looking for his replacement the next year. So if he gets injured, that doesn't change my plans on drafting a quarterback or finding a somewhat cheap option from the established quarterbacks in the league. He's going to be replaced, whether he finishes the season or not. So, what importance do you glean out of winning 7 games?
There is no importance in terms of what it does for the team this year. But if Jared Goff is playing, Terry, they've got a good roster. You can't tell me Brad Holmes hasn't added enough talent for them to be able to compete above average to the league average, which is about 5-6 wins, right? I think they're better than that.
The league average is not 5 or 6
in terms
wins.
of, the teams at the bottom in the middle, that's like where they're ranging. Anywhere from 4 to 6 games is what the bad to average teams do. And this is a team that I think is slightly above average. I think there's still holes missing. Obviously, you want a franchise quarterback in the future. You need time for your edge rushers to develop. Your interior linemen are going into year 2. You have really an unproven linebacking core. Your secondary unproven. A lot of things unproven, young, raw talent. It's a young team. So the 7 wins is, what it tells me, Terry, is they have a head coach that's improving. They have something they're working towards. And if they win more than that, well, I think a lot of people are going to be very comfortable with Dan Campbell moving forward. And if Jared Goff gets hurt and they go out and they win 7 games, I believe it's very difficult for me to sit here and say if Jared Goff misses half the season, more than half the season, that it is in your best interest to win with Tim Boyle or David Blau because you won games. No. There's a difference between getting Chase Young and Jeff Okudah. There's a difference between picking at 7 and ending up with Penei Sewell, or likely having a top 5 pick or a top 3 pick. Like, again, position matters, whether you like it or not. Now, are there years where you're going to be able to pick at 7 and get Penei Sewell? Hell yeah, it's amazing. But the point is, you would have loved to be picking in the top 3. You would have loved to snag Jamar Chase. Hell, you probably still would have taken Penei Sewell at number 3 anyways. You go back to the Bob Quinn draft. You are one meaningless win away from drafting Chase Young. You're one meaningless game away. But it was important, right? You had to win with the backups. It doesn't make any sense to me. I believe the Lions' objective this year should be to win 7 and 9 games with Jared Goff. And I believe he's going to be healthy. And I believe that is something they can do if Dan Campbell is the coach people believe he is. You can't go out in year 2 and win 3-4 games with your starting quarterback and the array of talent and development you have had. I think that's career suicide.
Well, that won't happen. They won't win 3 or 4 games with Jared Goff as quarterback. Even without him, they'll still win more than 3 or 4 games. Here's what we've done in this city. Back in the day, we would complain the Lions, all they do is win 7 or 8 games. They are the model of mediocrity. But what happened was last year was such a failure. Now we're looking at 7 wins as something great, something to accomplish. Man, if they could get that 7 wins, boy, we have fallen again.
Yeah, but I think that's again, I'm not going to bring up the last 30, 40, 50 years of Lions misery. Talking about this team this year, they were a 3-win football team last year. They didn't have a lot of talent. Going into this second year, Brad Holmes has added a lot of talent, I believe, especially at 2 very key positions, wide receiver and edge rusher. He addressed the interior line last year. Ideally, they work out. They still need to get better. It's a very young team, and I think Lions fans are stupid to expect 11, 12 wins out of a team that I believe is not ready yet. So yes, 7 wins is something they should accomplish with the schedule they have, with the starting quarterback they have, with the coaching staff they have, and with the improvements they've made to the roster. Again, does 7 wins get you into the playoffs or get you closer to a Super Bowl? No. But you tell me how you're going to believe in this head coach if he can't go out and win you football games. And that's something they need to do. Is Dan Campbell that good of a football coach? And if he is, this is a team I think will win more than 7 games.
Well, I think the critical part about winning 7, 8 games is he is a rah-rah guy. We all know that. But at some point, he's got to show this roster that he can win. So it's important that they win these 7-8 games for the stability and the acceleration of that locker room. Because they're going to be looking at this guy, okay, he's jumping up and down like he's crazy, biting kneecaps and all this stuff. And he's telling us all this stuff, and he's getting us revved up, and we're still only winning 3 or 4 games. At that point, you lose the locker room. So probably they need 7 wins not to lose the locker room.
Yes, and I think you need to develop. Now, there are cases in the NFL, and I believe if you're a damn good coach, you accomplish it, which is you walk in, you start winning right away. I think that great coaches do it. And is Dan Campbell great? It's so early to say it. I don't have enough evidence. I have 17 games on a roster that was really bad, that had injuries across the board. I don't think it's fair to say, but if I go to Wayne Fonse's start to his head coaching career with Barry Sanders, right?
Good.
7-9, 6-10, and then 12-4. If I go to Jim Schwartz, 3 wins, 6 wins, 10 wins. If I go to Jim Caldwell, that's quite the opposite. 11, 7, 9, 9. And then you go to the rest of the coaches. I mean, they all sucked. Bobby Ross, 9-7, 5-11, 8-8. Morningwig, 2-14, 3-13. It doesn't get better. And for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they need to win football games, because how do you build a winning culture? You win football games, obviously, but you win meaningful football games. And with the schedule they have, Terry, I think it's so important, especially if Goff is available all season, which I expect him to be. This is a team that's going to be winning football games. This is a team that's going to be a pain in the ass to play against. They're going to be able to run the ball at will. Play action, Jared Goff's bread and butter. They're going to have speedsters underneath routes, Jameson Williams over the top, Amon-Ra St. Brown underneath. A healthy TJ Hawkinson would be nice to see, but you can't rely on it. Anybody in the backfield can produce behind this offensive line. A defense that I believe with Aaron Glenn, who's probably going to be a head coach next year, is going to improve a lot. You're going to have 2 edge rushers going into their rookie year. You'll have Charles Harris. You have 2 interior linemen going into their second year. I think it's a much better team than what they were last year, which isn't much, but it's much, much better. So, yes, is 7 wins going to make me very happy and confident in Dan Campbell as a division-winning, playoff-winning head coach? It's not going to sell me, but damn it, it'll at least show me there's progress. And I think this is a team that's rebuilding.
By saying it's a better football team, what we're saying is we have something better here than a mound of poop, because that's what they were last year. Everybody said the Lions are going to be better. No kidding. Yes, you're going to be better. But are you progressing to become a championship team? Which, you got to take baby steps. But I guess my point is, I don't think you can say it's a good roster if you expect them to win 7 games. To me, a good roster is a team that wins 10 or 11 games. A good roster is a team that challenges for the playoffs. It is a building roster. It is a better roster, but it's not good yet.
Of course, and that's why, again, are we going to kill this franchise and this team when they probably end up 7-10 or 8-9? Like, I want to understand.
No, you know what's going to happen? There's going to be a parade down Woodward.
See, I think that's wrong, though.
These fans are going to say, yeah, look at this. We won 7 games, damn it. Look at us. We're on our way.
I think you have to be on your way. I think that's important. Now, do you celebrate over it? No. But no matter what happens this year 3 expectations are what, Terry?
There are none.
Well, I think it's win the division or at least contend and only miss by a game.
I thought you said this year.
I said year 3. Year 3.
Year 3?
I think you automatic must be able to contend or win the division. One of the two.
You should be able to.
If you can't in 3 years, the hell with you. I don't want to hear about coaching or anything. In my opinion, 3 years is more than enough time in the NFL. But this year, I think, given the schedule they have, they're going to be able to maybe look a little better than what they are. I think they're early in the process. But Terry, you get good coaching, and if Dan Campbell is that good of a coach, and the offense works very well like it did down the stretch with Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell, and the defense improves. This is not an average football team. This is slightly above average. Now, are they good to very good where they're in the playoffs and they're contending and you believe they can win a playoff game? Probably not. Very early in the process for this team. But boy, I've seen worse situations get turned around.
I have not. But I think it's unfair to expect them to win a division title in year 3. The Lions were essentially an expansion team. Their win percentage is very low. Their roster has been bad. They've been crippled by – they are still crippled by Matt Millen. They're still crippled by Quinn Tricia. This is a different circumstance. This is not Green Bay, not even the Chicago Bears. The Lions have been an embarrassment for decades. And then they were thrown into this alley of garbage because of Matt Millen, because of the coaches they hired, because there's no expectations. And they're still trying to fight. Even though I think these guys can do it, I think expecting them to challenge for a division or win a division title in 3 years is unfair because of the recent history of the Detroit Lions. This is a project that goes well beyond the
I
average
am willing
NFL
to acknowledge
team.
that this has been the worst franchise in professional sports, arguably over the last 58 years. That's a fact. Having said that, how much should I weigh history, Terry, into what the Lions are doing? We need to pause for a second. We'll continue this because I do have a few questions for you. But before we do, Maddie, could you tell us where and who has the best defense on and off the field?
Yes, I can. Guardian Alarm. They keep you safe and give you peace of mind. Whether you're at home or on the road, they're 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what's important to you is safe. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT right now for peace of mind. That's right, you heard Fish. 1-800-STAY-OUT right now and let them know that Woodward Sports sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron roll, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You can get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to Woodward Sports for more great videos.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. You look a little tired this morning.
No, Terry.
I think I'm getting on his nerve.
No. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I really am. How much of history do you factor in with this football team? Now, again, I can acknowledge over the last 58 years, pathetic franchise. 1 playoff win. Disastrous head coaching hires. Disastrous front offices. Friends of friends. The accountant. I can go on and on about how bad this football team has been operated and how bad they've been. But I've had 2 years of Brad Holmes, and I think he's doing a hell of a job. I think he's the most qualified GM ever to step into the building in Allen Park. I look at the head coach as, rah-rah, whatever you want to label him, it's fine. I still think it's very early for me to throw him away, even though he frustrated the hell out of me last year. But going into this year, I'm going to learn a lot, Terry, and I think that's where a lot of my whether you want to call it optimism or just what I'm saying comes from. It comes from, I am going to learn a lot this year. I am going to learn whether or not this guy can coach. I am going to learn how talented this roster is. And I don't expect them to be in the playoffs. I don't expect them to win the division. I don't expect them to contend for the division. Dare I say win a playoff game. Not this year.
But 2023 you do.
Oh, absolutely. Because I think 3 years is more than enough time to add talent to your roster, get your quote-unquote coaching philosophy instilled, and make a run for it. If you need more than 3 years, I'm not sure what to tell you. It can be done.
All right. What if Brad Holmes does not challenge for the division title in 2023? What are you prepared to do?
Well,
I'm putting
with
you
Dan
in charge.
Campbell, well, regarding who's in charge, Brad Holmes. If after year 3, that's a big if, right? Because we have to watch the games. What's the problem? Is it the talent? What are our expectations going into the year? How do we look at and evaluate this roster? Is it a talented roster? Or is it, man, damn it, Adam. You know, this team still has a lot of holes in it. It's been 3 years. We're having a different conversation, I think, based on that. But after 3 years, if they don't win the division, I think it's a coaching issue. I sure as hell don't believe it'll be a GM issue. I think the GM has added ample talent. I think he's drafted very well. I think he's maneuvered in the draft very well. And I believe after next year, you're getting 3 full drafts, 3 full off seasons of Brad Holmes, and there are no excuses for any head coach. I don't care who it is, Dan Campbell, your mother, her cousin, I don't care who. There is no excuse not to contend for the division in year 3. I think it's on coaching.
Okay,
I think the talent will be there. And I think it's starting to get there.
It is getting there, but you have to understand, this essentially was an expansion team. They had no talent. So now, I just don't think this franchise can turn it around in 3 years and contend for a title. Yes, you do have to look at the coach, but my gut instinct will be to give him more than 3 years, even if he doesn't contend for a title, because if you see progress, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be see if I see progress with this franchise, I'm willing to give him that 4th year, no question, unless he's a total screw up.
We can say progress based on the win totals, but I always go back to Jim Caldwell. The wins were there. You were 9-7, and it felt like you were never getting anything more than that. And it was obvious by watching the team. Inability to be aggressive, never challenging some of the dumbest plays I've ever seen in my life, some of the dumbest mistakes made on and off the field in terms offsides, pass interference, roughing the quarterback. We don't need to get into it. And then, of course, for me, Terry, I call it, have I identified your ceiling? And after year 4 of Jim Caldwell, I felt like that was his ceiling. I had enough data. I had enough years of Jim Caldwell to know, you know what, I think this is the highest he can take us, is 9-7.
I guess my question is, how's it worked out since then?
Oh, it hasn't worked out at all. They made a disaster hire in, obviously, Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia, but that doesn't elevate what Jim Caldwell is. Just because everybody after him has sucked doesn't mean he was some great coach. And you're
Nobody's calling him great. I know, this franchise is awful.
But you can't elevate him because you're chasing greatness. You're chasing division titles, playoff wins. Notice I'm using an S at the end, not one-off years. I'm not asking a one-off playoff run, 10-6, 11-5, 9-7 wild card, gets shellacked in the wild card game. No. You want to be good, you win divisions. You contend for divisions. Win playoff games. That's how you get taken seriously. That's
you know what you're contending for now?
Nothing.
Number 1 draft pick.
Yes, again.
We go through that every year. Hey, why win these 2 games? Let's try to get the number 1 draft pick. That's what the Lions are now. No one thinks about, and then people are like, well, how come they're not on national TV? Because nobody wants to see them play. They're irrelevant.
Yes, again, but there has to be a point where we can have a conversation about how bad it's been, how bad it was pre-post call, whatever we want to do here. and acknowledge there's a GM in place that I believe if there was ever a guy to turn it around, it would be under his leadership. And I believe that is Brad Holmes. Do I believe the head coach is the next Sean Payton, the next Mike Tomlin, 10, 15-year tenure here in Detroit? That would be great. Way too early to say. Really rare for that to happen, but that's what you need. When have the Lions ever had a Hall of Fame-esque head coach? When?
Never.
When have they had a GM that was respected league-round? Or,
Never.
league-wide? Never. I believe they have the GM for the first time ever. Do they have that head coach? I don't know. But they're going to need that type of head coach to win football games.
If they don't challenge for the division in 3 years, are you chopping heads?
That's based on how I think, yes, right? But you could sway me based on how you perform, right?
But you need to see the games.
I need to see the games. But if you told me just record-wise, 3-13-1 last year, 7-10 this year, 8-9 next year, or 6-11 next year, or they regress, oh my goodness. I mean, the regressing I think would be an automatic chop for me if they regress. If it's a game improvement, they're 8-9 or 9-8. Terry, I'm gonna ask questions and I'm gonna say, hey, what's this guy's ceiling? Because now
we can question it, but I want to see. I want to see this book continue. If they win 7 this year and then 9 next year and don't contend for the title or for the division, I still want to see what lays ahead for this coaching staff.
And I agree with you, and that's why I think identifying someone's ceiling is so important. When you can identify a coach's ceiling, you're either really happy or you're really sad, especially if you do it early. See, the Bengals didn't listen to public pressure, and they said, look, our team was actually playing good under Zach Taylor when Joe Burrow was available and he was a rookie quarterback, and then he goes down and we lose the rest of the games. We're not going to fire this guy. Dude's a young offensive-minded coach. That's what's working in the league. They get rewarded for it. Granted, they go to the Super Bowl. That was an insane run. But just winning the division alone was enough for me. Winning the division alone in Cincinnati, I think, was a huge accomplishment.
Bam.
And
no question.
If Dan Campbell, this year, Jared Goff goes down, Hawkinson gets injured again, Amon-Ra St. Brown has an unlucky injury, team loses talent, and they go 3-13-1 again, I'm not going to sit here and say, kill this man. What I'm going to say is, year 3, it's a very important year for Dan Campbell. What I would say is, you're going to have to prove a lot. But if you have another 4 or 5 win year, even if the team's injured, I mean, at this point, what are we doing? I'm not keeping a guy around with a 20-30% win rate. I'm just not. So, it works both ways, Terry.
I know. But you understand that every NFL team has massive injuries.
Yes.
And it takes years sometimes not to get that star player that we're all talking about and excited about, but to get that competent backup that when you do have an injury, you drop off, but you don't drop off that much. I think the Lions need more than, or Brad Holmes needs more than 3 years to cover those deficiencies that they have when people get injured.
Then you have mentally challenged people like DCP1. Would you fire Tomlin? 9 wins, 8 wins, 12 wins, 9 wins? I don't know, a Super Bowl winning head coach? Multiple times, a guy that's been to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's a different
A
circumstance.
guy that's been to multiple AFC title games? That's won multiple divisions? Yeah, I would not fire that guy. Yeah, that's a keeper. That's a 15, 20-year coach. That's not Jim Caldwell. That's not Bob. That's not Matt Patricia. That's not even Dan Campbell. Unbelievable. What are you going to do?
You have to put everything in context. You can't say, oh, this guy won 8 games, so I'm going to fire him. Well, he's got a history. He's proven, and you like to use the term ceiling. He's proven that his ceiling is high.
Absolutely. It's a
Dan
Super Bowl winning
Campbell
head
has
coach.
not proven that he has a high ceiling, but that's what the next 2-3 years are about.
Absolutely. Speaking of the next 2 to 3 years, over the next 2 to 3 days, I am going to be stopping by Big Boys because, Terry, Strawberry Fest is back. Maddie?
Not only is the Strawberry Fest back, but we are live from Big Boy
That's right.
in Brighton on Wednesday. So head on over to Big Boy. They've got the Strawberry Fest going on right now. They brought back some of the classic breakfast items like the strawberry French toast, hotcakes, and waffle. And don't worry, they have lunch as well. They have a new strawberry bacon chicken wrap, a crispy chicken wrap, nacho wrap, and a strawberry salad. But let's not forget about dessert. They have a very delicious strawberry pie for only $1.99 when you spend $7.99 or more. Head on over to your local Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
At Wing Snob, staying humble's not our forte. We just have better wings. We're back at it again with our crispy golden brown fries and our famous boneless wings. Juicy, tender, hormone-free chicken. Your favorite signature sauces with no bone. Just when you thought Wing Snob couldn't get any better. Order online at wingsnob.com today. Wing Snob. We just have better wings.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I think we have a caller. Adam, is Justin on the line?
Yeah, we got Justin Spiro calling in this morning.
Wonderful.
Justin, I hope you're well. Sorry about the wait. Fish doesn't like you, so I really can't help you there.
This was like a 6.5 minute wait, which is about 6 minutes too long, but we can rectify that later. Look, my Jim Caldwell alarm went off. I actually have an alarm in my house set up that if anybody defends Jim Caldwell, even in a passing mention, the siren goes off in my house. Actually, the security is called. It's a big deal. So I had to call in and address this. I want to nip this right now, and then we can move on. Jim Caldwell was a disaster in Detroit. And just because someone is a bigger disaster before and after does not change what Jim Caldwell was in Detroit. Yeah, 9 wins wasn't the end of the world. That team, especially in 14 when they did pop up to 11, was absolutely loaded with talent. Still won 0 divisions, 0 playoff games. Look, I'm not a Super Bowl or bust guy. That's a really unreasonable standard, especially in Detroit. But I am a win a playoff game or 1 division or bust guy. I don't think that's unreasonable with the talent they had. And at the end of the day, what is the distinction between 3 wins and 9 if neither team wins the division and neither team wins a playoff game? 9 and 7 does absolutely nothing for me. It's just a worse draft pick. It's the same thing. It's absolutely hollow. If anything, I'd rather have the 3-win team. At least I have a chance for a better draft pick a couple months after the season ends. And this defense of Jim Caldwell, which, thank God, you and Terry don't do this routine, because most of the people at your network, even though I love them, some of them are friends of mine, do this routine. The Jim Caldwell thing, it's imagine having a dear friend of yours who is a raging alcoholic, and you stage this intervention, and you sit down with your friend, the alcoholic, and say, look, you're off the rails. You got to get on the rails. You got to get your life in order. And that person trades the alcohol addiction for a meth addiction, and they go further into the abyss. Are you going to call your friends and family and say, oh, man, like, hey, we got to get that alcohol back. That alcoholism was really great, just because the subsequent addiction was worse? No, that's asinine. So just because Jim Caldwell, who is the alcoholism in this example, was followed by Matt Patricia, who was the meth habit, it doesn't change the fact that Caldwell was a problem and wasn't the answer either. So this romanticism over 9 and 7, 0 playoff wins, 0 division wins, I can't go there again. I'm glad you guys just glossed over it and then moved on. But the siren did go off, so I had to call.
I tell you what, I'm going to send your siren going again. Here's my problem with the whole Jim Caldwell thing. I don't think he was great. I would have fired his ass too. But here's my point. The Lions are a freaking embarrassment. Matt Patricia, Bob Quinn, all these coaches. But here's the thing I have to hear. I have to hear how horrible Jim Caldwell is, and the other guys were, well, the Lions were bad then, and blah, blah, blah. I don't see how Jim Caldwell is the whipping boy for the Detroit Lions when they've had all these incompetent people in the front office and in the coaching office. We always have to go back to Jim Caldwell. That's my problem with it.
Well, Terry, that's fair. I mean, if your argument is they've all been bad, Caldwell was the least bad, yeah, I'll co-sign. No problem at all. That's not what I'm saying. I don't lump them all in as equally bad. I do lump them in as equally ineffective in achieving what I care about, which is division wins, playoff wins. At the end of the day, there's no distinction between what they accomplished in that criteria. But no, I don't have any problem with you saying, or anybody saying, that Jim Caldwell was better than Matt Patricia. I think basically every coach ever was better than Matt Patricia. And Caldwell wasn't a horrible coach, but at the end of the day, he accomplished nothing that should be aspired to in Detroit or anywhere else.
And I
again,
think,
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, and I think that's the key silver lining is accomplishment.
But nobody else has accomplished anything
that's the
here.
problem. Well,
but
that's
we
the
always
problem.
talk about Jim freaking Caldwell.
Why? Because we bring him, and when I say we, I mean this fan base, brings him to a level, and even some Detroit sports local media analysts will bring him to a level that I don't believe he is. This is a guy, like you said, you would have fired him after year 4, because I think we all agreed. After year 4, it seemed like this is a guy that would probably keep you around middle of the pack for the next 2-3 years, and that wasn't doing you much. And I agree with Justin. I think there is no technical distinction between being an 8-win team that doesn't make the playoffs and a 3-win team.
But although you just said it's important for this team to win 7 games this year.
But there are factors like this football team right now where you need to show progress. I think this team is early in the process, and I think you have to take your medicine sometimes, and you're not going to be a division contender right away. I can fully acknowledge this team was awful last year. I can acknowledge the team was talentless last year and very injured. But going into year 2, with a much more talented roster, they should make those improvements now. And in year 3, year 4, Terry, they're still a 6-7 win football team. No one's talking about keeping Dan Campbell. Even if they're a 9-win football team in year 3 and then a 9-win team in year 4, I think people are going to be asking questions. Hey, what the hell? Can this guy win a division? And I think that's where me and Justin always go back on is, can you accomplish what other franchises aspire to? Not Super Bowl or bust. Damn it, just compete and contend for the division year in and year out. And I think that's very acceptable. That's something they didn't do under Caldwell.
Wins 7 games this year, 9 next year, and 9 the next year, he's still going to be heralded in this town.
Well, that's the Jim Caldwell effect. Justin, what do you think?
Well, I mean, Adam, I agree with you. I understand what Dr. Foster is saying. I really do. And I respect Terry greatly. But I think you nailed it, Adam. The reason why we're constantly circling back to take a dump on Jim Caldwell's legacy is because people like Terry, whom I love and respect, and Sam Day, whom I at least love, if not respect in terms of the sports fan takery, are on these microphones defending and reframing the Caldwell era. Nobody's out there on the microphone, and nobody could be, defending the Matt Patricia era or the Rod Marinelli era. So that's why Jim Caldwell appears, in my opinion, from Terry's perspective, to have an outsized base of people speaking out against him. It's because there is a need of rational people like you and I, Adam, to offset and clarify some of this revisionist history around Caldwell. We don't have to do that. But who's going to sit here and have a Rod Marinelli discussion? Everybody knows Marinelli was bad. There's no point. So that's why Caldwell gets talked about.
But you don't. No, stop it. But you are supposed. You talk about incompetence. Let's talk about incompetence. There's incompetence all over, and I'm just going to stick it for the last 2 decades. I'm not going to go 58 years or 60 years. This franchise has had incompetent people, coaching, front office, but we always go back to Jim Caldwell.
Well, Jim Caldwell.
Talk about Rod Marinelli.
I'll talk about incompetency. Incompetency is going to Martin Mayhew and saying, I demand Eric Ebron. That's the player we're missing from becoming a Super Bowl contender. That's incompetency. Not going for it on 4th and 1 in Dallas's territory in a playoff game is incompetency. I mean, again, a lot of Jim Caldwell, we forget this, and this is one of my biggest problems is, yes, he was the most successful coach in terms of winning percentage. Yes, absolutely. But do we forget he had a franchise quarterback who in 1 year, removed from the franchise, removed from the coaching that he was surrounded by, goes out and delivers a Super Bowl, goes out and wins a division.
You're taking stuff out of context.
I'm not, though.
Yes, you are.
That's the point.
No, wait. When Caldwell left, that franchise quarterback played worse. Then he went into L.A. and won a Super Bowl.
And Matt Patricia was his head coach.
Okay, but why aren't we talking about how bad Matt Patricia was?
Because everybody acknowledges how bad he was. The problem we have in this town,
the only reason you bring him up is if somebody else brings him up.
No, because we try to look at Jim Caldwell's 4 years and say, man, those were 4 good years. He really had us on the right track. The truth is, 11-5 year one, everybody, including myself, all in on Jim Caldwell. Loved the work he was doing. It's not.
He was getting criticized during the 11-win season.
Well, I wasn't on a goddamn microphone, so I couldn't do anything about it, Terry.
I'm not going to blame you, but he was getting criticized
in that 11-win season, they did blow the division, though. They had that division locked up. They could have won it 2 weeks prior, but they blew the 2-game division lead, and then they ended up losing to Green Bay in the final game of the year.
That's Detroit Lion football. They've been doing that for
Not necessarily. They weren't blowing divisions because they were never winning divisions. But again, I think that's the point is after 1 year, everybody felt good about them, unless there are a few assholes. I can't fix those people, Terry. But then year 2, they have a great start, finish 7-9. Then 9-7. Matt Prater, Matthew Stafford winning all those games. And then year 4, the same thing, the same concept. Play like crap for 3 quarters, show up in the 4th quarter, beat the bad teams, lose to the good teams. And that was the Jim Caldwell era. And that's why people like myself and Justin are sitting here not trying to put it into context. Again, that was some of the most winning, consistent football this team had, but it never amounted to anything because the coach was just average, because the roster was very talented at times, and because the GM was a clown. Again, many factors. And then I can point to Matthew Stafford and say when he did leave, the pathetic coaching, the pathetic front office, that he goes out and delivers everything you should have delivered at least once in his 12 years, which was a division title, and you couldn't do it. I think that's the point, Terry. Justin, am I right by saying this?
Well, first I want to push back on one thing. I mean, Terry just said that Stafford was, or insinuated that Stafford was always bad under Matt Patricia. The best year Stafford ever had was year 2 of the Patricia era. Now, he went down midway through the year, but look at his stats in those 8 games. He was better than he was in L.A. last year in 2019. So it's not that Stafford was just lost the second Jim Caldwell left. He had his best year ever under Matt Patricia, ironically. Now the back injury popped up and it happened, but it wasn't a 3-game sample size. It was half a season. But that aside, I don't think Dr. Foster disagrees with us in the way that he thinks he is. I think we mostly agree because Terry opened up this whole response to me by saying, look, I agree. I would have fired his ass. Direct quote. Okay, we're good then. Our disagreement is on the margins, if anything. I mean, there's not. If you thought he should have been fired and you thought he needed to go, then we're good. I mean, we're just arguing the nuances at this point. I'm addressing more of the Sam Day people who will pound the table in true Adham fashion and say that they should have never fired him. It was the worst decision ever to let him go. Those are the people that need to be addressed because
so that's who you're talking to, because I don't agree with those people. I'm not pounding the desk saying he shouldn't have been fired. I'm not one. My question is, with all these nincompoops that the Lions have hired before and after this man, that unsolicited, Adham always brings him up. And then, yes, you will criticize other people after their names are brought up. Rod Marinelli's bad. Oh, yeah, you're right, T. Rod Marinelli's bad. But you only bring it up if somebody brings them up. Jim Caldwell, but you're I'm taking a dump today. Hey, what about Jim Caldwell, how bad he was as a coach? That's what you do.
Terry, what? Jim Caldwell was just good enough to make this a discussion. That's what we're trying to say. No one's going to sit here and have a discussion about whether Ted Bundy was a good guy. But somebody might have a discussion about whether or not Jimmy Hoffa was a good guy.
Here's why I don't want the next time the Lions have a mediocre coach, we're going to talk about that guy like a dog. Am I right?
I'm telling you.
If we bring in a guy, if they bring in a guy, because I'm not part of the franchise, and he's going 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, we're going to criticize that guy.
Oh, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. If Dan
I will.
Than the one who's going 4-12.
If Dan Campbell, they go 3 wins last year, 6 wins this year, 8 wins the third year, 8 or 9 wins the fourth year. You're damn right. I'm going to say this guy does not.
You are a GD lie.
No,
you're not going to do it.
Yes, I am going to ask for him to get fired after year 4
you're
if that's
not.
their record. Absolutely.
No, in fact, today, I'm going to say, Adam, we talked about this before, and you know what you're going to say? I don't remember that, T.
Absolutely
I don't
not.
remember
Absolutely
that
not. Terry, look,
conversation.
I'm not so.
You're a damn lie. You're going to
Absolutely
forget
not.
all this stuff.
Absolutely
You're going to forget
not.
today ever happened. This Monday never happened, because this is exactly what could happen with the Lions. He could be going 9-7 3 years from now, and you're going to say, "Oh, well, it's not 3 wins. The guy's really improving. The guys are still behind him." That's exactly what you're going to do.
Not true. Not true. If 4 years from now, this guy has won a total of 9, 8, 6, that's 23, 26 games in 4 years.
Okay.
If he's won 26 games in 4 years, I'm going to be sitting up here, hopefully alongside you, if you don't kill me by then.
No, I'm going to say, if you don't do it, I am going to shoot you.
No, I absolutely will, because, again, I've identified his ceiling. This is a mediocre coach that can't take my team to the next level, which is all I'm asking for, by the way, is contending and winning the division.
I need one favor from you. I have never asked a favor of you before. I want you to remember this day, because this MF over here is going to forget the day ever happened.
I don't forget anything, Terry. I don't forget anything. Justin, thanks so much for the call, man. It was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. Love watching you guys. I think you're a great pair, and keep up the great work, guys.
I
appreciate it.
I still think you're on crack.
Oh, man. All right. I got to tell you guys about my bookie. Go and sign up today using code Woodward. Bet from anywhere, anytime using my bookie. Of course, if you haven't bet on the NHL overs, I think it's something you should consider. Sometimes you can get them over 4.5, sometimes even at a push 5. I'm feeling good about the Edmonton Oilers. They might be my low-key favorite to win it all in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Of course, you can turn to the NBA. Warriors are up 3-0. So you can basically lock that up series in 4 or 5 games. Make sure you're betting on my bookie. Again, that's code Woodward. And we'll be back in a few.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Also featured on The Roar on 99.1, 93.5, and 94.7 HD2. You know what? I got one of those back for you.
All good. All good. Look.
That's Maddie abuse.
I don't deal them. I don't dish them out without expecting to receive it in return, all right? I can
That's everybody in this office.
Oh, God.
That's very true.
All right, Terry, let's get into the Detroit Pistons. All right.
Oh, basketball.
Who should the Pistons draft at number 5 overall? This has been a hell of a topic over the last week and a half, obviously, since the NBA lottery. Look, people complaining about who they should pair up with Cade. Oh, my God, you need to pair this guy up with Cade. You haven't had this type of player play with this type of perennial all-star since the LeBron James and Dwayne. I've seen all the arguments. At the end of the day, Terry, tell me if I'm wrong in terms of timeline. This is not a championship roster for another 4 to 5 years.
Yes.
Wrong or correct?
No, you're correct.
Okay. So it doesn't matter who you draft this year, in my opinion.
It does.
It does in terms of you could really, if you hit a home run, boy, you'll be in the playoffs in a few years. Hell, you might be in the playoffs your first year. Who knows how good the kid is? But the point is...
Do you want to draft Killian Hayes again?
Oh, God. Well, you know what? I don't mind him off the bench, but I get your point, though. Yes, I do understand. I think my message to Detroit Pistons fans is, I need you to go look at the Boston Celtics. I need you to look at the Memphis Grizzlies. I need you to look at the Dallas Mavericks. I need you to look at the Golden State Warriors all the way back in the day when they drafted Steph first. I need you to look at those teams and how they built through the draft. And that's your reality, Detroit. I'm sorry, you're not landing any marquee free agent. I don't care how good Cade Cunningham is. It is very unlikely.
Not a free agent destination, Detroit.
It just isn't. Sorry, you have to build like Milwaukee. It took Giannis 5-6 years to become an all-star, not an all-star, but like a superstar caliber player. It took Steph 5 years. It took Clay 5-6 years. Draymond 5-6 years. John Morant, he's special. I think Cade could be just like that. Luka special, just like Cade. Love it. Great. You still need 2 and 3. Where are 2 and 3 on this team? Is it Sadiq Bey? I won't know for another 2-3 years. I draft a kid this year, I won't know for 3-4 years. Now, I'll know early if he sucks. But I don't know if he can be Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum. Right? You'd like to say, well, Jason Tatum, well, we have Cade. Who's your Jaylen Brown? Who's your Marcus Smart? I think Marcus Smart is more important to that team than Jaylen Brown. Who are those guys? You don't have them right now. So, yes, it's very important who you draft at number 5. Yes, you want to hit on the pick. But you are 4 or 5 years away, realistically, from making a significant push unless Cade just becomes so damn good that he can carry you to a conference final like Trae Young did, like Luka Doncic has, and then you're going to see when they go up against the really good teams, they're going to get shellacked. That's the reality.
Bam.
That's the reality. So, yes, does who you pick at number 5, whether it's Ivy, whether it's Keegan Murray, whether it's Shaedon Sharpe, fine. I do have the quote-unquote trust Troy Weaver mentality. I think he's done a good job. But you are years away, Detroit, because I don't believe you're going to get a marquee free agent in 2023, let alone in 2024, that is going to completely shift the balance of power in the NBA and bring it to Detroit. I just don't see it, Terry.
No, it doesn't happen. The Pistons, I mean, listen, and I always hate to bring up history, the Pistons have never signed a highly coveted free agent. And people always bring up Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups worked out here. Chauncey Billups did a wonderful job. But Chauncey Billups had baggage when he came here. A lot of teams didn't want him. But he came here, he signed here, he had a great, but Kobe in his prime is not coming here. Luka Doncic in his prime is not coming here. I mean, you might be able to get...
Let me give you the list of 2024 free agents. So not this upcoming year,
okay,
but the following year.
All right.
Who's going to be available on the market? Under the age of 30, only Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis, and Devin Booker. And Jaylen Brown. Those are the 4. That's it.
They're not coming here.
Jaylen Brown's not coming here, nor should you want him, to be honest with you. Karl Anthony Towns, interesting. I think he takes a supermax and stays in Minnesota. Devin Booker, interesting. Hometown relations, could possibly happen. Doesn't happen until 2024. So the 2024-2025 year is when you may be a playoff contender and maybe get to the second round. That's 2 years from now. 2 more full seasons from now.
Right. And the only way Devin Booker will come here is if Cade takes him out to the bar and gets him drunk.
Well, there's that, and if Phoenix falls apart, right? And Phoenix isn't developing.
That could happen.
So, and that's very possible. But you don't want Porzingis either. Again, where are the free agents in 2023, 2024 that are going to alter the course of this franchise? I think Devin Booker could be that guy. Given the hometown relation, I think that would be a very good pairing. A legitimate 2-guard scorer. You have Cade as the facilitator who can score.
That might be the only guy you can get.
That I would sit and say, all right, fine. But that's 2 years from now, and that's a big what if. What if he wants to sign the Supermax deal with Phoenix and take the extra 40, 50 million? Does it matter who you draft now? Sure, it does. You want to hit on these players. But boy, given the timeline, you could miss on 5 this year and pick in the top 10 again next year and hit next year. Or you just hit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see players get busted, especially at number 5 overall. But I think my point is, Terry, there is a timeline of success that this team is very far away from. And they are building towards it.
Right.
And I think it takes a lot of time.
The other thing is, it's all young guys. It's guys 22 and younger. You need a guy like Devin Booker who's got some seasoning, got a little grit to him. And so the Pistons are going to be, it's going to be tough for them to get that guy. So you may have to, I'm not saying that they can't win a championship, but yeah, you may have to wait that 4 or 5 years for that to happen or for them to even contend.
And let's say they take Jaden Ivey or Shaedon Sharpe this year, and that's your 2 guard moving forward. Well, one, if he works out and he's an all-star caliber player, either of them, great. You still now need to address the 5, and I'm not talking a superstar 5, but you just need a 5 because come postseason, Kevon Looney matters. Grant Williams, weirdly enough, somehow matters. I don't know how he's hitting all these threes. It's unbelievable. Length matters unless you can supplement it with length at the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4, which most teams can't. So yeah, Jaren Jackson out in Memphis mattered in the postseason. He was their biggest threat to Golden State. That matters. Size matters in the postseason. May not in the regular season. Fine. Postseason it does matter. So when you have Cade, Shaedon Sharpe, or Ivy, whoever it may be, along with Sadiq Bey, ideally you have a stretch 4, someone who shoots about 32 to 36% from 3 would be ideal, be very good. And you take it from there. And then, of course, at the 5, again, you can have a small ball lineup where Killian Hayes is on the court and you don't have a natural 5 and you guys figure it out. But then the other 24, 28 minutes of the game, that big guy is in there to help with boards, protect the rim, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a Galoof protecting the rim and getting rebounds if you can get those other 4 pieces straight. And a guy that I kind of wanted a year ago was JaVale McGee from Phoenix, who's kind of the backup there. But he's smart. I know, he has good heritage. He has parents who played in the WNBA and the NBA. And he will figure out what he needs to do to help the Pistons become winners. So not a great name, not a splashy name, but maybe a guy that you can get if he becomes a free agent because he's got ties here and he's not a big superstar.
The only way the Pistons leapfrog half of the East this year is if whoever they take at 5 ends up becoming Dwayne Wade at 5, Ray Allen at 5, Vince Carter at 5, Scottie Pippen at 5. You need a Hall of Fame player at 5 for it to turn around, right? That's the trajectory you need.
Not even the guys you mentioned could turn that around as rookies.
No, but
Scottie
it would
Pippen,
leapfrog your future potential, right?
Yeah, in the future, yeah.
Yeah, so you would say by 2024, 25, they're in the playoffs for second round. They're learning along the way, and then by year 6, year 7, not year 6, 7, but 5, 6 years into their primes, into their careers, they'll be entering their primes, and then they will be a problem in the East. And that's 2026 we're talking about. Very far away. It's still very early for this basketball team. I think for sure I made a mistake this year thinking they'd win 30, 32 games. I think that was a big mistake on my end. And again, just look around the league. Go look at Milwaukee, how they were built. Go look at Boston, how they were built. Memphis, how they were built. Mavericks, whoever you want to use. Young basketball teams. Even the Warriors, who are on their way to the finals. That core originally won less than 35 games their first 4 years under Steph Curry, I believe. And then in year 4 or 5, they won 42 games, and then everybody entered year 5, year 6. They were in their prime or entering their prime. Mark Jackson, elevator offense, oh my goodness. And then they did a few years of that, and then it was Steve Kerr championship mode. Takes time.
And you want to hear a little
Jordan's
secret?
a perfect example. Isaiah's a perfect example.
Do you want to hear a little secret?
Oh, yeah.
That roster in Golden State's getting old. They're in their 30s now.
Mm-hmm.
So it can go quick. Bam, just like that.
Absolutely.
But
I mean, talk about Isaiah Thomas, how they built the bad boy Pistons, how they built the Bulls.
Isaiah Thomas had to learn how to win. He had to learn from the Boston Celtics. But first they had guys like John Long and Kelly Tripucka as big cogs for that team, and then they started getting John Sally and Dennis Rodman, Joe Dumars before that, and Joe Dumars, grew up into a nice player to surround Isaiah Thomas. That's how that worked. Then another important guy was Vinnie Johnson, who very rarely started a game. They sure as hell didn't need him. So we always talk about the superstars, but when you talk about building a championship roster, there's so many pieces that you need. You can go the big three route, or you can go the way that the bad boy Pistons went. They went 9 deep. They would play 9 guys, even sometimes during the playoffs, because when the benches are shortened, they would still go 8 or 9 guys because they had people who were starters.
Terry, question from Scott in the chat. Why in the world would you give the Pistons more time to flip a 12-man roster than the Lions to build a 53-man roster? I'll tell you why, dipshit. I'll tell you why.
Can you just call him Dippy?
No, dipshit.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because in basketball, unless you have LeBron James coming out of college, you don't become an instant contender. In the NFL, it is programmed for you to turn it around in 3 years. That's how the NFL works. You should be a contending division winner by year 3. Doesn't matter your circumstance. Now, in the NBA, if you get LeBron James, hell yeah, you can win all the games right away. LeBron didn't make the playoffs his first 2 years, I believe. In the NBA, Giannis, year 6, became a superstar. Steph Curry, year 5, year 6. All these players, to become a superstar, and by the way, to become a contender, you need superstars, dumb motherfucker. And that takes 5 or 6 years. That doesn't mean you can't get to the playoffs, win a few games in the first round, maybe get out of the first round. But you're not contending until your players become superstars, and that takes 5 to 6 years typically. You dumb motherfuckers.
You know who the most dangerous guy in the NBA playoffs is right now?
The most dangerous?
Yes.
Right now?
I think it's Luka Doncic, who's looking at a 0-3 deficit to Golden State. So, you need more than the superstar. He needs more people around him. He needs Golden State to go away. Secondly, too, and they're not ready quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's... Anybody upset about what Dallas is doing? No. So shut the hell up. That's the point. What year is Luka in? Year 4. Year 5, year 6, he's going to be expected to contend for MVPs and get this team back to a conference final. You're in year 1 of Cade. You're going into year 2. Chill the hell out. We got to go to break. When we get back, trivia time. Terry?
All right, I got something for you.
I'm ready. I'm ready for trivia.
It's for all of y'all.
Trivia with Terry's on a Monday. This is going to be interesting. But before we do, I got to tell you about where I'm going after work today, and that's Planet Fitness. I got my gym bag already. I wasn't able to go in the morning. Take your fitness seriously. Your fitness is essential. For $0 down, $10 a month. Get started at any local Planet Fitness. They have a ton over in the Metro Detroit area location. Again, that's Planet Fitness. Check them out at planetfitness.com, and we'll see you in a bit.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
my diamonds, it's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Our friends at Alto Equipment know that when it comes time to getting your job completed on budget and on schedule, uptime matters. That's why Alto Equipment has partnered with the biggest names in construction. With the most diverse rental fleet in Michigan, there's nothing your project can throw at you that Alta can't handle. If you've got a big project coming up, Alta Rents, they've got you covered. Give them a call today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA today. Alto Equipment, where uptime matters.
All right, we're back on the morning show here, 9:20. For everybody experiencing awful audio on the app, we are maintaining it right now and fixing it. So head over to YouTube and watch us live. Terry, what do you got? Trivia?
I do.
I'm nervous.
Well, it's not really trivia, but it's a brain tease. How about that?
I'm ready.
2016 was the last time a Detroit team made the playoffs.
Okay.
Since then, what Detroit team has the highest win percentage? Who's
Since
second?
2016?
Yes.
Who's second?
Yes. Now, let me say this. Two of the teams have a below 40% win percentage.
We will go.
What team has the highest win percentage since 2016?
We will go with the Tigers, number one.
Mm-hmm.
We will go the...
It's not supposed to be easy. Take your time.
I want to say 2016?
Yes. 2016 doesn't count because that's someone who made the playoffs. But
oh, so 2017 on.
On. Right. To today.
I'm going to say... I said the Pistons first, right? No, I
No,
said
you
the
said
Tigers.
the Tigers first.
Second would be, since 2017, the Pistons.
Okay.
Third would be the Lions. Fourth would be the Red Wings.
Okay. You got them all wrong.
Really?
Yes.
Holy hell.
The highest win percentage is the Detroit Pistons.
Okay.
And it's not great, 46.8%.
Okay.
Second is the Red Wings, 41.6%.
God, that's how bad. Oh, my God.
Yep.
All right.
Third is the Tigers, 38.7%. And they've had 140% or higher win percentage the last 6 years. Last, Detroit Lions, 33.7%. So obviously, the Pistons have finished 500 once. The Lions finished over 500 once, 9-7. The Wings and Tigers, no.
God.
So it's been pretty bad. So it goes from 46.8% to 33.7%.
Ooh.
Pistons are number one.
Ooh.
And that's not saying a lot.
That's pretty bad. I didn't expect. Wow. I thought the Tigers for sure would be second or first, really. Interesting. They're third.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the Tigers, they have been 30-something% consistently. 38%, 37%. The 1 year, I think they got up to 41%. But they've been a disaster. And that's why a lot of people are saying, you know what, we're sick and tired of Al Avila.
I don't blame them.
Al Avila, in my mind, screwed this whole thing up by not being able to get anything for Justin Verlander and J.D. Martinez. There is absolutely no production coming from those trades. And, you know, it's been 3 years. Is it fair to say you should see somebody up here doing something? And not at West Michigan.
I don't know. Alavila's too busy eating food instead of making baseball decisions.
Is he a hippo?
Huh?
Is he a hippo?
He's definitely a hippo.
Okay.
Qualifies as a hippo. I think so, right?
You created the terms. I can only go by what you say.
All right, let me see how much he weighs. Give me a second.
You know that's gonna be
63 years old. He's got the triple chin. We go about 235. 250.
No, he's 250.
He's about 250. Maybe not a certified hippo, right? Because the hippos, they have like, the 7 rolls on the stomach. So he's definitely not that bad.
You know what? He's probably wearing one of those fat
He's an
girdles.
infant hippo. He's an infant hippo.
No, he's probably wearing a girdle. So you don't see the whole rolls.
God damn. Oh, God. Yeah,
now, I don't wear
surprised.
one, but some of the fellas, when they get 55, 60, and they're like, you know what? I can't help this extra bagel or this cream cheese croissant or Danish.
Oh.
They get the little girdle things, and they wear them up to here.
I am not happy about what you just shared with me. That is pretty bad.
I'm telling you, there's some dudes that you're looking at. Okay, he's not that bad. He's got a girdle on.
I'm going to have a bagel today.
You don't need a girdle, dude.
No, I'm talking about bagel.
Oh, okay. In fact,
sounds
you
good.
need to
put on weight,
inhale air or something. Yeah, you need to get pumped up.
Who are the all-time hippos to ever grace Detroit sports? Well, who do we got? Prince Fielder, Alavila,
Yeah.
This is so
Cecil Fielder.
rude.
Matt Patricia,
Right?
Yeah.
Sean Rogers.
Yes.
Who else? Who else is fat and overweight?
You know who's a mini hippo? Wayne Fonts.
Wayne Fonts is a mini hippo
That's
for
a good
sure.
one.
What about Stan Van Gundy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he
He
qualifies.
was, let's say he was floppy. You know,
Jim
he had stuff
Caldwell.
going on
Jim
all-
Caldwell was a mini hippo, right? He had that little, gut hanging out.
Mm-hmm. He was cherubic.
Okay. Who's the all-time hippo? I think it has to be Matt Patricia.
All time?
Because you have to consider performance and weight.
I got one for you. Yeah, this we won't call. Oliver Miller. You remember that name? Oliver Miller was 6'9", and they always listed him at 275 pounds.
Oh, boy.
Which was a bald-faced lie. He was at least 320. And he talked like this. He had a real high-pitched voice. And he was a hippo. But maybe the sloppiest was Matt Patricia.
Interesting.
Trying to
Super
think who
interesting.
else.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Terry. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, let's do some Tigers. All right. They even up the series with the Guardians. They still have some games to go. Can they really turn it around is the question. Baez finally broke his slump, hit a home run the other day. Feeling good moving forward, but the question is, can they turn it around? Before we answer that question, I got to tell you about Gypsy Vodka and, of course, their new featured drink, which is the Mulligan. The Mulligan is your official drink of summer. It is officially here, of course, and it is made with Gypsy Vodka. When you're out on the golf course hanging out with the boys, you know what to do on the golf course. Pull out a Mulligan, not hit one, not take one. Just pull out a nice Mulligan drink, have a good time with the boys, shoot low, aim high. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Strawberry Fest is back at Big Boy. We brought back some of the classic breakfast items like the strawberry French toast, hot cakes, and waffle. If you're not feeling breakfast, try our new strawberry bacon chicken wrap, crispy chicken wrap, nacho wrap, or strawberry salad. The perfect recipe for springtime. And don't forget to grab dessert, including our berry delicious strawberry pie for only $1.99 with the purchase of $7.99 or more at participating Big Boy locations.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
It's a little bit of a rainy week ahead of us, but don't worry, you can still get your vitamin D at Chili Peppers Tanning. That's where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. They've got spotless sanitized rooms and trained certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club today for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Chili Peppers, they've got the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, and the darkest tans.
Chili Peppers tan.
Fish loves chili peppers, I think, more than you do. It's unbelievable. I love
it. It is not very possible, but it's okay.
I'm all for it. Look, Terry.
Yes, sir.
Tigers even up the series. I believe 4-2 yesterday against the Guardians.
You're correct.
It's weird calling them the Guardians, by the way. Everything in me is stopping me from saying Indians.
Yeah, no, I'm confused. Guardians and the Commanders. Those two screwed me up.
It's such a shame they got rid of the names. I thought Redskins was really cool, and I thought Indians was really cool. But, you know, when you offend people, you have to also take those people into consideration, I guess.
Yeah, but the Indians, the name didn't bother me. It's a stupid Chief Wahoo. I mean, just...
Oh, the logo?
Yeah, the logo was... That was the messed up thing. And then, as far as the Redskins, you have to throw into account, what if they called them the Brown Skins or the Black Skins or something like that, and had some character of a black person or somebody Hispanic with a...
That's fair. That is very fair, actually.
That's what you got to throw in.
It's very fair.
Because I'm watching this show, Yellowstone, and one of the characters on there is teaching the way Native Americans were actually treated, what things Native Americans actually had to go through as opposed to what you're taught in school, quote unquote. So it's a very huge contrast, and you have to consider what would it be like if you threw another ethnic person in that group. Because I think we tend to look at the Native Americans like, hey, yeah, y'all were here, you lost your stuff, too bad.
Yeah, look, I mean, we don't need to go into the dark story and history of what happened, but what I'll say is history, all right? Some of it's nice, some of it's not nice at all. And, you know, I don't think those team names were created. You know, for example, if you go back and open the vault of Walt Disney and all the cartoons and characters he made, there's some really, really, like, obviously racially intended stuff involved in those films.
And you know who else? Dr. Seuss.
And I look at the Washington Redskins as an NFL franchise, I'm like, I mean, a tough one. When you say it, when you bring up the example of brown skin, dark skin, it hits a little different. Yes, I will acknowledge it, and I'll say, oh, wow, you know what, you have a point. I never looked at the Redskins logo and said, oh, Terry, what the hell are they thinking? It never, I don't know. Could be my ignorance.
I think it's because we're programmed to think that way. But my thing is, if a certain ethnic group is outraged enough to say, I don't want this,
I think that's fair.
Then I say, you know what? Then why do we have to do this? Now, here's the thing that I'm sure somebody's going to bring up. They're going to say, well, if you poll most Native Americans, they said they don't care. Well, I actually went to a symposium in Washington, D.C., and I talked to people who were chiefs and high wigs, and then, you know, regular, you know, Native Americans with no titles to it. They always said that those polls were fabricated by white people because white people wanted those logos so badly that they would fabricate a poll to say, hey, Native Americans, we're okay with it. And they claim that's not true, or that wasn't true at the time that I talked to them about this. So I just go, if they're offended and don't like it, I say get rid of it. I have no problem with it.
F it.
But you know why people want to keep it? Tradition. We can't mess with tradition because that's what we did in the 1930s and 40s. So damn it, we're going to keep doing it now. Tradition.
All right. Well,
what were we talking about anyway?
Tigers have a tradition of losing.
Tigers. Yes, they do.
Here we are.
Unfortunately.
Look, finally, again, you know, good bounce back game. They lost the first game 6-1 to the Guardians. 4-2 victory. Again, relying on pitching. They scored 4 runs. really don't know how they turn this around. I don't know how they turn it around, Terry. I really don't. You have to hit the ball better than what you have been, and if you're going to rely on those kind of pitching performances, that bullpen, night in and night out, you're going to lose about 60 to 65% of your games.
Well, here's the other thing that's going to happen. This is going to be the ugly part. That pitching is not going to be able to hold up. I mean, they're doing it with smoke and mirrors now. I mean, their top 6 pitchers are out. How long do you think this is going to hold up? I mean, these games are going to start to be 8-2, 10-2. I mean, it's going to get ugly.
Well, that's, the same way you can say, hey, the pitching's not holding up. This is the same way I could say, how long are they supposed to slump with the bats? It's unbelievable. We're in almost the end of May.
You know what yesterday was? It was a very historic day. Sparky Anderson's 40th game.
No way.
Yeah, they hit that yesterday.
Well, they're not looking good.
No, I think we can officially say now they suck.
I think they're a bad team. The bats are pathetic. Torque, again, struggling. Baez, a home run opposite field, great. Diaz, a nice RBI single up the middle early on. I believe it was to either take the lead or tie it up. But, regardless of the point, Terry, the team sucks.
Right. You know how bad it is? You have the Bally boys, and those are the people on Bally saying, man, that was a good bat. Even though he grounded out third, weakly to third, they're saying, hey, that was a good bat because he didn't, a batter didn't go chasing out of the strike zone or something like that. Or they showed some discipline even though they were out. Now we're categorizing bats for the first time that I can recall in Tiger history of, you know what, he got out, but that was a good bat. That's not good enough. And that shows how pathetic things are.
Yeah, again, they suck.
And you know what?
And it's tough to talk about them.
Hey, bro, they got to figure this out in 3 weeks because I'm going to a couple Tiger games, so I don't want to go there and see a no-hitter unless the Tigers are pitching it.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't think the pitching is sustainable. But again, if I told you before the year they would pitch like this, everybody would be confident in this team contending for the Central.
You know what? I'd say at worst 500.
Absolutely.
At worst.
It's tough pill to swallow. I really thought this team was better than it was going into the year. Shame on me for relying on Jonathan Scope and Grossman.
You know what? That's my fault.
You should have smacked me upside the head.
I told you to respect them, so you should have smacked me first.
You should have smacked the hell out of me. God damn it, Adam.
No, because the reason I didn't smack you is because when I was told I was going to be doing more stuff with you, the first thing I read is, T's going to smack Adam right across the head. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not going to because I'm a professional, damn it.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Maddie, could you tell everybody at home about the great work our friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency are doing, please?
Yes, I can. The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the F Word, helps spread awareness of fentanyl and other addictions. Go to thesportsma.com if you are struggling or know someone who is, and let them know that Woodward Sports sent you.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Well, guys, if you need something fun to do this week or this weekend, Head on over to the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck. That's home of the original football bowling pin game called Fulling. They've got 2 ways to play, $12 unlimited open play, or you can reserve a private lane for just $120. Don't forget, of course, they have a $2 mystery beer machine as well as multiple full bars. Check them out at thefullingwarehouse.com.
All right, we got Maddie stepping away for a little bit. And Nick Leach.
Where are you going with that?
Careful. We got Nick Leach joining us this morning on the Morning Woodward Show.
He's Aquaman today.
He looks. I'm not gonna lie. If I wasn't married, Nick would be, up there.
That's I was just aiming to.
You'd be up there with Jimmy G. Let's put it that way.
That's what I like to hear. It's the blue eyes, isn't it?
All right, man. 7 shots back. Justin Thomas, unbelievable. I hate when he wins because I always cry because how he embraces his dad kills me every time.
Well, so a little background on that too. So he's got 2 major championships now under his belt, and they're both PGA championships. And his dad was a PGA professional, and so was his grandfather that just passed away. So like that event has a little bit of a different meaning to him and his family alone, because that's the event where they allow 20 club professionals from all around the country go and play for it. We had Tim Pierce from Birmingham Country Club go and play in it last year. Another guy, Ben Cook, that I've known for years, ended up being low pro in that event as far as the club professional side. So it has a big meaning for the club professional side. So you saw Justin Thomas fill up with emotion yesterday. It just means a little bit different to him. And the game of golf just means a little bit more, I think, to that family than some of the other guys that may be on tour.
I found his performance on Sunday to be one of the most grittiest performances. What do we make of the playoff, especially even hole 18 before we got to the playoff? I mean, down the stretch, nerves of steel, man.
Yeah, well, he was playing. I mean, he didn't really have the pressure on him, right?
Well, because he was ahead of the group.
Right, he was ahead of the group, and he was coming from behind, so he could kind of, take aim at flag six those last few holes, and see what happens. Just give yourself a chance. And I mean, he even had the birdie putt on 18 that he just missed too, that would have ultimately won it straight out. But this tournament to me never felt like, even on Sunday, it never felt like it was over. I never thought really Mito Pereira was going to actually secure it.
What did he shoot, 5-6 over on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it was 75, 76.
Oh, God. He was like 9 under going into the day,
even
right?
that last hole, they talked about, he sat there and he pulled out driver, and he made one of the worst swings I've ever seen on a final round at a major. You could just tell he was, and the announcers were talking about it too. They said, you're watching him speed up through his routine, and anytime guys start doing that, it's that they're uncomfortable. It's the adrenaline's rushing, and to me, it just didn't seem like he was thinking. He could have hit a 3-wood out a million miles to the left. The only thing he could not have done there is go right, and kind of just skanked a driver out there and found the water. So it was, to me, it seemed like that was inevitable. It always seemed like he was going to kind of piss that one away.
So the pressure got to him.
Yeah.
Now, you were talking about how important this tournament is to people. Are you disappointed that Phil Mickelson decided not to even play in it?
No, I know a lot of people are sad, especially I know Maz.
I mean, you were okay with that?
Yeah, he did it to himself. You can't go out and badmouth a professional tour that, made you who you are, made you all kinds of money throughout your career. I mean, you're one of the winningest players of all time, and you're bashing them about how they're not making you enough money. But then come to find out it's because you gambled away $40 million in the last 5 years. So I could care less about Phil from that standpoint. He shot himself in the foot, and
I hear that, but isn't that kind of a dick move?
On his part?
Yes.
Yeah, no, yeah, agreed. You can't come out and say you'd rather play for rapists and murderers and people that are overseas killing journalists, American journalists. And he said, and he knew about that. He kind of made that, like he said, he goes, I'd rather go play for those guys essentially than play for the PGA Tour. And when you come out and say that, I don't think we'll ever see Phil Mickelson play a PGA Tour event again. I really don't.
My question to you, a two-parter. One, Will Zalatoris' future. He's put together, I want to say, 7 or 8 consecutive top 15-ish finishes
in majors. Yeah.
It is He's playing really well.
It's going to come down to one thing for him in his career, and that's the putter. They talked about it when he was at Wake Forest. They said this guy can hit the hell out of the golf ball. He's one of the best ball strikers we've seen out there. But we got a close-up of that putting stroke, I believe, what was on the 17th hole of that playoff?
17th hole, yep.
That was one of the weirder putting strokes I've ever seen, again, by someone made on tour. And it was, I was sitting around with a few people watching that, and we kind of looked at each other, and everyone throughout social media, the same thing. They went and grabbed the remote and rewinded it. It was kind of like he almost had like the yips. It was almost a shank putt, it looked like, on 17, which was only a 3-footer. And that's going to be the club that determines if he wins 5 to 6 majors or if he never even gets one.
Well, speaking of future majors, all right, obviously the winner, Justin Thomas, 2 majors now, both the PGA Championship. I think his ceiling is extremely high. I feel better about him moving forward than any other player. And that was even prior to the major. He's so goddamn consistent. But you look at players like Rory McIlroy. What's his future, man?
Rory's an oddball. I mean, he came out and actually had a great first round, which he doesn't typically do in majors. So when he came out, I was like, oh, Rory could be that guy. We saw Justin Thomas very consistent through the first 2 rounds. And Rory, I just don't know if he can put together 4 good rounds in a major championship anymore. I don't know if it's a mental block. I mean, we saw what he did in the final round of the Masters this year. He had 2 good rounds on through the PGA Championship Thursday and Sunday. So I really don't know. Justin Thomas had questions going into this event. I mean, he's 28 years old now, and he only had 1 major up until this point, and that was 5 years ago. But I think he's got the perfect person. I think Jim Bones Mackay on his golf bag now. He said he played a big role in why he was able to go out and play well on Sunday. He goes, you're way too hard on yourself. He's like, you just need to go out and play good golf and stop being so hard. You're going to hit bad shots. I mean, look, Justin Thomas shanked one on Sunday and still shot 67 and won a major championship. If I shanked one, I'd probably end up go shoot 90 somewhere. So it's just a mentality. It's always, the next shot right in front of you. And, Terry brought up Phil Mickelson, and Bones was on his back for all those majors that he had back in the day too. So he's a major championship caddy, and sometimes that's what you need on your bag to kind of, jumpstart you back into the player I think we all expected him to be 5 years ago when he won his first major.
Well, what do we do with Rory, right? He stormed off a little bit after. Wasn't too happy with the questions being asked. This is a guy that, I mean, there's nobody with a better driver. I know people love Bryson DeChambeau, but there's no better driver in golf than Rory McIlroy's driver. He has everything that you need, unless he's just missing the mental game. I'm not sure what he's missing.
If you watch Rory's game, he's one of the best ball strikers, one of the best drivers. Obviously, I think the best driver of the golf ball that I've ever seen. But him, it's same thing with Zalatoris, and that's what made Tiger so great, right? Is in those clutch situations is he would come up and make that 15, 20-footer, which most people would miss. And that's just, I think Tiger spoiled us to some degree to that extent. Is he won so many events because of his putter. And a lot of these guys just don't have that clutch factor like he does. Like even Justin Thomas, again, on that 18th hole, he had a putt to pretty much outright win it, and he just missed it. And those were putts we saw for 20 years that Tiger would make. So it's just, until you see someone that gets in the game, like John Rahm, I think is the perfect example. Is that guy's probably hit some of the most clutch putts that we've seen over the last 2-3 years now, aside from obviously Tiger in his heyday.
I think one of the things that helped Tiger, he said he was never shooting for second or third.
Mm-hmm.
He was there about winning. And I'll admit, if I could golf, sometimes I go in there and say, you know what? I'm finishing top 10 today. I don't give a damn about winning because I'm gonna get paid big money, and then. But his mentality is, I'm either winning or I'm not.
Well, yeah, and for him, it's and he made the comment after Phil talked about it. He goes, I never played the game of golf for the money, and that's how he kind of backed the PGA Tour. He goes, I played to win. I've read his book, and it was just a killer mentality that he had. So he just went in to play, and that's a good point. Is you backdoor a top 10, you're still making probably $500,000 in an event like this. So these guys have that pressure of that as well. It's like don't let me screw up too bad and make a double bogey here instead of a par. Like I think some of these guys are very content finish third or second. in these events. But Tiger never was. Tiger always wanted to win, and he played the game to win.
Right, because if I finish 7th, I'm still taking my private jet to the home, and I'm still living in some palatial villa that they kind of rent during the weekend, so I'm still good.
Yeah. And I think that's how some guys look at it that way. And I'm not going to speak for, obviously, I think a lot of guys out on the tour think they're the best players in the world, and they want to win. But at the same time, too, they're trying to make sure, you get enough FedEx Cup points so you make it to the playoffs, or you get enough Ryder Cup points. So to me, we'll never see another player like Tiger Woods. I mean, we saw this weekend Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas is like Tiger Woods' best friend. Tiger calls him his younger brother. I'm hoping we see someone go on a tear. I think golf needs a dominant player like that. Golf embraces those guys. We love seeing what Scottie Scheffler did leading up to the Masters. Justin Thomas is a crowd favorite. You could tell everyone was rooting for him on Sunday. So for me, we need to get back to a point where a guy goes on a run for that for a
Who
year
is that
or so.
guy? Is it Morikawa? Is it possibly Justin Thomas? Spieth hasn't looked like he could ever recover from his early days, where he looked like possibly the next Tiger Woods, given how clutch his putter, his short game was unbelievable. But where's the future of golf going forward? I mean, the U.S. Open is what, June 16th?
Yeah.
And then the Open somewhere in July? July 14th. So what's next for golf?
So to me, like, as a big golf nut that I am, I think golf's in a very, very good spot right now. You have a lot of popular players. You got Justin Thomas. Tiger Woods is back out there playing, which is great for the game. I kind of call it, somewhat the golden era of golf right now. And people was like, well, when you had Trevino back in the day, Palmer, Nicklaus, all those guys, like, they'll probably call that the golden era. But a lot of these guys that are playing nowadays are playing because of Tiger Woods. And the level of competition that these guys are playing with versus some of those guys back in the day, that's why I don't think we'll ever see a dominant player like we did with Tiger Woods. That's just how good the competition is nowadays. So I think you're going to see guys going China. A couple years ago, it was Jordan Spieth, like you said, Jason Day, Dustin Johnson. It seems like someone goes on a tear for about a year, and that's all you kind of get. So I think that's what you're going to see for quite some time.
All right, well,
maybe until Charlie Woods comes around, then we'll get that.
Man, I get to tell my kid I watched Tiger and Charlie.
Yeah, I'm
Talk
hoping
about being
nothing but
spoiled.
good things for that.
And you can
can't
tell
wait.
him you played with Charlie.
Probably not. Probably not. We got to go to break. When we get back, mailbag time here on the morning show. Get your questions lined up in the chat. But before we do, I got to tell you where I get my haircut every single day. I'll tell you where I get
your
lined
haircut
up. Not every single day. Well, I mean, I get lined up. I get lined up almost every day, to be fair, right?
Man.
Because when you have as much facial hair as I do, you can't go around looking like a grizzly bear. But beyond the point.
Scared of you.
It's definitely awesome to get off the air and get treated like a king. And where you can get treated like a king is at your local Lady Jane's. Walk in anytime, no appointment necessary. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Precision haircuts, awesome stylists. Again, get the king's treatment. They'll treat you like they treat me. That's Lady Jane's. Haircuts for men. It's wicked awesome.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Glad that we can finally start trying to get the stigma off of mental health that's been there for all these years.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Detroit Sports by Detroiters and for Detroiters. This is Detroit Sports Network. This is Woodward Sports.
Head on over to oddstrader.com, the #1 site for all of your game day bets. For the best price on every game and sign-up offers from multiple sports books, visit oddstrader.com. And don't forget, For play-by-play updates, live scores, and bet tracking, you can also download the app today at OddsTrader. So head on over to the App Store or oddstrader.com.
All right, let's start with the questions in the chat. Where do we want to go first? All right, mailbag time. Terry, how long will it be before the Lions win a division or a playoff game?
Oh, my God. For the first time, we'll tell you, I think they're going to win one, but I think it will be 6 years from now.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. This is the first time the Lions have positioned themselves to be a real NFL franchise. And I don't think the first time you try something, it works out completely. So I think it's going to be 6 years before they win that division title, and sticking by it.
All right. You know what? I don't think 6 is horrible. I'd like to see it much sooner, but
I know you would.
I would say 20
years?
2023 should be their first attempt to win a playoff game. I think by 2024, 2025. So I'm going to go a 3-year window. I think they should be able to do it given the amount of talent Brad Holmes will add to this football team. Let's see. What else do we have in the chat this morning?
You have to understand, you have to go through the growing pains of a young quarterback.
Of course.
You know, his first 2 years are going to be a disaster. His third year, he should be good.
Yeah, again, I think you can compensate that with either A, really good coaching, or B, just unbelievable talent, which I think Brad Holmes could pull off. Terry, if you were the Lions GM, would you re-sign T.J. Hawkinson if he only played 12 games this year, but gave you standard production?
No, his contract's going to be too high. If I were along the Adham plan where they were winning a division title, I would, because I don't want to lose that piece. But I don't think they're going to be there, so I would not re-sign him if he's only playing 12 games, he's injured again, and he's all right. I think he's a good talent. I would want to hang on to him, but I don't want to hang on to him for that kind of money.
Yeah, I don't want to pay him that $14-15 million a year, especially if he's hurt. So I would agree with you.
If I'm Brad Holmes, I'm confident that I can get another T.J. Hawkinson later on in the third or fourth round, because that's where tight ends come from. I'm talking about
second, third, fourth
caliber
round picks. Absolutely. Question, Terry. We have talked about the best Lions coach way too many times. Who are the best Wings, Piston, and Tigers coaches that you've ever covered?
The Wings,
or just in general,
is really easy. It's Scotty Bowman, and that's a guy that the players didn't particularly like, and they bitch about him all the time. If you want it, and if players are willing to go on the record, you could write a hell of a Scotty Bowman is an ass column or story, whatever. But nobody will go on the record, because they would bitch about him, but say, hey, you know what? We got rings because of him. So I think Scotty Bowman is, and I respected Mike Babcock too, but his message became stale. As for the Pistons, there's two guys, Chuck Daly and Larry Brown.
I'm going to give Chuck Daly the nod. I think the winning was more consistent, multiple championships, multiple finals appearances, 3. I believe Brown 2.
But if you look at Larry Brown's entire career.
Oh, I mean, but for the Pistons, right?
Okay, just for the Pistons, he would be second.
I would say Daly. And then I think Leland. I wouldn't go back to the 80s team, me personally. I think Leland really put together a hell of a ball club for a really sustainable amount of time.
What about Sparky?
Sparky, though, did deliver the goods.
Hall of Famer.
So you'd have to go Sparky 1, Leland 2. I think you have to. That's a tough one.
You can go back to Mayo Smith.
It's a tough one. Last question. Outside of Goff, which player has the most pressure this year to prove it? I would say Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift. Both have a lot to prove, both injury reasons and performance reasons. Guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it as always. Happy Monday to all of you. Have a great rest of your Monday. I am probably going to go to the back with Maddie, and we are going to beat up Fish. And we're going to enjoy our Monday. Sorry, buddy. Have a great Monday.
Sounds good with me.
For Fish, myself,
I gotta
Maddie,
get a hot water
Terry,
heater.
and Alex. We will see you tomorrow. Remember, Wednesday we're at Big Boy, and of course we're at a golf event on Thursday. It's going to be fun.
We are.
All right.
Enjoy French Open.